Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am Aaron, and this is the Inclusive Dad podcast where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Scott Martin. Scott Martin, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Aaron. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Why don't you just start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I would put the taglines of husband, father, author, coach, teacher, and oh yeah, I'm a quad amputee. I guess I have to put that in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it. We're kind of neighbors. You're from Wisconsin, I believe, and I'm in Minnesota, so not too
Okay.
far.
Yep. We're
You
probably
got
both below zero the other day.
yes.
Yes.
Is it has this been an abnormal winter for you guys too? We've the last few winters we've hardly had snow and it hasn't been very cold.
We have
Same
not.
here.
Last year I ran my snowblower twice. Last year. This year only once. Global warming, I mean, that's a different topic, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, I mean I remember as a kid where it would be January a couple weeks we wouldn't get above zero. I remember being able to like dig tunnels in the yard from the snow and
Yes.
you always had snow, so
Yeah,
it's
snow
different.
forts. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
big thing in our neighborhood too.
Yeah. Awesome. What is your definition of inclusion?
Equal playing field. I mean, if we put it in a sports thought, just so everyone has the same general opportunities, and therefore it comes down to just the individual and the way they their work ethic and things in that order.
Yeah. What does the title "Play from Your Heart" mean of your book? Or do you want to talk about your book a little bit and then what the title means?
Yeah, going back when I was a freshman at college is when I started coaching, and even from then, um, I work with the kids on telling them to turn off their brains and play from their heart. Well, that's too long for a book title, but it is kind of catchy. So we just cut it down to play from your heart. And I think that that title represents the entire book from beginning to end.
Do you want to tell a little bit about your story? I started reading the book, like I said, and maybe just talk about a little bit about what happened.
Yeah. Here's let's do this, Aaron. What I substitute teach now, and the youngest group at the high school where I teach is sophomores. So beginning of the year when I'm with sophomores, I say, hey, I understand how rumors go, and you've got this guy here. I don't want to be hearing rumors about how this guy was over in Afghanistan, lost his hands, or bomb blew him up, or anything. So here's my pitch to them. Back in 1993, I was the head women's soccer coach at the University of Wisconsin at Eau Claire. Coming off our first season, we were nationally ranked. I was heading over to Europe, and that's what I tended to do during my summers, would take kids from the United States over to Europe. And Nike heard about me, gave me a call that summer and said, hey, we'd like you to come down to the regional camp outside of Chicago and work with some of the kids there. Yeah, no brainer. Problem was I was wearing Adidas all the time, so I showed up and they scooted me off into a closet probably and had me put on all Nike gear. Um, so there were national team players there and coaches from across the country, and we had a coaches match the second night that we were there and playing in it. And suddenly I had to pull myself out. Never had to do that. Something was wrong. I was either throwing it profusely that night or shivering like crazy. Got up the next morning. I knew something was wrong, but I had no idea where hospitals were. So I went to my mom, who was an hour and a half in southern Wisconsin. And as soon as she saw me, she said, you get your butt over to the emergency room. She was correct. Uh, they failed to take blood tests, which was too bad. That gets in the book. They're a very important time. And the next day, they sent me home and said, here, drink some Gatorade. You're going to be fine. I wasn't. I had to cancel a couple of recruiting trips. Last thing I remember for the next month was my stepfather driving us out of the driveway and my mom uh, uh, peering out from the kitchen window, just looking freaked. Yeah, I woke up a month later to learn that I had to amputate both my hands and parts of both of my feet because of an illness.
Yeah, that is. Had you? What was your experience with disability like prior to um, you being in the hospital and becoming a quad amputee?
And nothing, even as a teacher. So before I was coaching at college level, I taught social studies and history at the high school level, and I don't recall ever running across any quote visually disabled students. Um, so it was different all of a sudden to wake up and find myself in that category.
Yeah, I mean, for I have a similar. So I have a daughter, Cecilia. She's 23, but I don't recall growing up ever hearing the word disability, seeing anybody like with a visible disability. Don't remember the word special education in school. So
Yeah,
yeah, so it was similar for both of us, and just so when she was born, having to learn all the lingo and realizing there's this parallel universe out there that I didn't know about that I was suddenly in. So yeah, it's similar. It's interesting.
I did, I do my background research on anyone I'm going to be on the show with, and yours really caught my eye on how that came about, and then how you dealt with it ever since.
Yeah, thanks.
So it's interesting, isn't it? What you
Yeah,
found.
yeah, it is interesting because I mean, some people once in a while. Usually, I'll ask my guests that, and some people like they had somebody in the family that had a disability and that kind of shaped them. But for
Hmm.
others, like myself and sounds like you, we just all of a sudden we're in there, we're in the world, and
Yeah, you
have to
have to
figure it
figure it
out
out.
and learn.
Yeah,
But
sink or
and
swim.
but it is interesting because like I mean I come across times in my life where you see somebody's situation like I could never do that, and then you think like I mean other people look at me and say I could never do what you're doing, so it's just when you're in it you kind of don't. I feel like it's just the way it is. She's my daughter. I'm gonna do what I have to, figure it out, and you just deal with it as it comes. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, in your book that I started reading your book, and in the book you refer to music, particular songs at certain times. Why do you do that?
Uh, because it's true, first of all, and a lot of the way I see the game, I guess it would be like a Jackson Pollock painting, a drip painting, but with music. And I would bring music to training sessions. And it wasn't for the players, it's always been for me to try to get them to play like that. So this goes way back to, again, when I was a freshman in college and starting to coach, I would bring music into it. And also, Aaron, one of the things that I kind of fell into by bringing music into the book was try to make it interactive. So a message I want to get out to readers is when a song comes up or an artist or what, stop reading, and especially if they're on a tablet, just open a different tab, go to Spotify or something, look up that song and listen to the song, and then come on back to reading after you listen to the song. I think it's going to make it more interactive and more interesting. So readers will get a very good taste of what was going on at the time and the storyline.
Yeah. Well, I was loving it because I mean, there's songs that I listened to growing up. My dad, we'd listen to classic rock. So the first one, I think it had Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. So I was like, yep, I know that song. Then the
Yep,
next one,
there you
I know
go.
that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you seen the Bruce Springsteen movie that just came out?
Yes, I
Okay.
did, and I was
Yeah.
very in tune with it. And did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So afterwards, did you go in and find and check out who that woman was that they had a child with?
No, I don't
It
think
was
I
just
did.
a represent. Here's what I read. It was a representation of many of his relationships at the time. It was just very vague like that. But I seem to remember, yeah, at the time, Springsteen was, I mean, he was, well, the boss. So everybody knew of him, and I'm sure that women were glomming all over him. And yeah, that trials and tribulations he went through came out in his music. Now, does the music seem a little different to you now that you've seen that? The more of the storyline. Do you listen to his music a little differently?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. And I wasn't aware of some of those songs that they were
Mm-hmm.
from that album. So I mean, I listened to it, and it was. I mean, I love like some him and some other older artists where it's more a lot of storytelling, which I like. I mean, it's to
Yeah,
me, it's different than the stuff now, and it's yeah, I
yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah,
But yeah, it was interesting also to see the interaction between him and like his manager, like manager's
yes,
trying to get him. The manager's trying to get him to like do stuff for the label and that, but he's trying to balance like Bruce being Bruce and what the label wants. That was kind of an interesting
Very
interaction. I'm like,
interesting.
that's probably happens a lot because I mean, yeah, the artists kind of do that what they feel like they need to get the music out or how to create it or what they love, and then how do you present that to the label to get them to have it to get it out to make money off of it. So yeah, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Do you go to concerts?
We do. Um, we have, we're heading down to New Orleans. I don't know if there's anyone down there we're seeing in the spring, but yeah, we were in Paris. We went to see someone. Um, yeah, try to get around to different venues and different places and take things in. Are you a big concert goer yourself?
Yeah, I've seen the Eagles like 4 times, Elton John 4 times. We went to Charlotte and saw Garth Brooks. We actually saw the Eagles in Nashville with Vince Gill was with them. But yeah, we've been seeing Jelly Roll a few times. Yeah, we go all over. I'm trying to. We haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but I wanna maybe go see AC/DC next summer when they're touring.
Oh, interesting. I've seen them.
Have
Yeah,
you? Okay.
it's an interesting show. Yeah, a lot of emotion. Hey, did you happen to see the Eagles at the Sphere in Vegas?
No, I did not.
Wow.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I never see concerts.
Wow.
I mean, it just totally blew me away.
Okay.
Um, they say that they like to go there because of the sound system, which was freaking amazing, but just the video, you're so captivated with everything that's going on. You're part of it, and it didn't matter if they were down on the stage. I don't know how many people were actually watching them because everything that's going on the ceilings and in the walls. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool.
No, I saw they were there and I wanted to go. I just know we did not go there. But yeah. The other thing on my bucket list, I want to go to Red Rock and see a concert sometime.
Yeah, that'd be a
Have
good
you
one.
been there? Have
Yeah.
you been to
Yes, I
Red Rock?
have. Beautiful
Wow.
venue. I mean, just the sound. It's just a different sort of experience. The way I think music's supposed to be listened to live. Very
Where
casual.
did you? Who did you see there?
I don't know if it was Petty. I've seen Petty
Oh
four
man,
times. I saw Petty 4 times. I don't remember. Winwood? I'm sorry, I don't remember
that's okay.
exactly who I saw there. Everything
Yeah,
blends together. I guess maybe that's good. I don't know. I don't remember where. It's just I experience music at different places.
yeah. We want to go there. I just keep looking at the list and it's nobody's jumped out like I want to go see them there. So yeah, we're trying to. That's where I want to go sometime. But yeah, we love music. My daughter, she loves music. We took her up to the Viking Stadium and saw Post Malone and Jelly Roll last in May. So yeah, she's always loved music, going to concerts. So yeah, that was interesting because it was in the Vikings, the big football stadium, so it's
Yeah.
very big and it's much. I mean, that's the biggest venue we've seen anything in. So well, maybe that or Charlotte for Garth Brooks. It's just a different experience when it's that large compared to like a smaller stadium or venue. So yeah. Also, the another interesting place we've seen concerts was in middle of Iowa in the summer at an indie track. There was an indie track where Hy-V sponsored it, and they had concerts, 2 races over a 2-day period, and then a concert before and after both times. So we saw
Oh, wow.
Ed Sheeran, Eric Church, Zach Brown Band, Luke
That's
Combs,
huge.
yeah, Carrie Underwood. So yeah, we pay a couple $100 a ticket. You got to see 2 indie races and like 4 big name concerts. So, but it was the
It's a good
downside.
deal.
It was middle of July in Iowa,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
humid.
115 degrees outside.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, for the money, it was worth being able
Oh
to see
yeah.
those people.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Most
it was
definitely.
fun. Why don't you? Let's see. What was it like to transition from the open doors of being a white male in athletics to being labeled as disabled?
Um, yeah, being in athletics, all you have to do is win. I mean, not all you have, well, you have to win. And pressure is on. I like pressure though. And going from there to all of a sudden nobody knowing how to react to me. Years later, when after I left soccer and I was coming back, people reacted to me much differently than when I had previous to the illness. Uh, Back then, I think people knew me though as well. But I experienced a lot of discrimination after after I got out of the hospital. I did 4 more seasons at the university, and I kept dwindling, and I ran smack dab into the brick wall of depression. And when I came out of that, I resigned my position and knew that something had to change. I went out on the East Coast and had a couple of interviews, and one of them left the athletic director's office and was walking down the hallway and stopped to get a drink of water. And I heard him call out to his secretary, "Why did you have me interview a guy with no hands for this position?" Okay, that wasn't the first time. And it definitely was not the last that I came across discrimination. I still discriminated against today, Aaron. I don't understand. I Mortality, maybe especially for males, I've come across. Before matches, I'd shake a hand of the other opponent just to gauge how they would react to me. Never had a problem from a female coach. The male coaches I would take advantage of because I could tell when they pulled away, or you could just tell there was a smirk because they thought less of me. Well, I'll use that to my advantage then. So I learned how to turn the tables on it, but still trying to get a job with my resume. Nah, doors weren't even open or were closed. Yeah, it was discrimination's not a good thing. So I've learned a great deal about that as well, and that's something that I hadn't experienced before.
What's interesting about the males versus females shaking your hand? What do you think that is? Just the way men view it, or
Yeah, I think that I make them question their own mortality because we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be cool about things. We're supposed to be in charge of everything. And here I am, someone at their level that has no hands. So I think that it plays along with just the maleness of growing up and how we're supposed to be. I don't fit that. So therefore, there are different ways that can go about it through their brains, I believe. And I love it when they become arrogant and they believe that they got me before the whistle even blows. That's exciting, you know. Yeah, it's a whole thing, you know. Freud would have loved this.
it is interesting though. Like you figure that out and then you kind of use it to your advantage. That's interesting. That's all. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah. Yeah, and looking back after matches, we did beat uh, coaches that were like that. They were arrogant and were uncomfortable shaking my hand or whatever. The ones that didn't matter to them at all, those are always the better matches and sometimes losing to them. And I respect that, because they didn't just categorize me as weaker than.
yeah, that reminds me of, this is not totally related, but somewhat related. I play a game called Magic the Gathering, like a card game, like kind of like Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up. My partner, she had a lunch, or lunch up in the Twin Cities area, so we drove up there, and I brought some of my cards with. So I went to like a local card shop with one of my decks or whatever. So I didn't know any of these people, and I'm like sat down. Hey, can I join you? So, and it was college age kids, and it was in like an upper, I mean near like a really good private college in Minnesota. So I sat down, and it was something similar. Like they looked at me, 40-year-old guy with a bald and a beard, and they're like, we got this guy. And then I'm sitting there like, they didn't even think I had a chance. So then I just, it was fun to be in that position to be like, okay, you guys don't think I have a chance at all, so I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It was just like,
Yeah.
not exactly the same, but it's somewhat similar. Where like they just saw me and like, okay, we got this game. We're not gonna be nice. We're not going to worry about him. And as they forgot about me, I proceeded to win. So I was like, that's fine. You guys can like focus on each other. You have no idea like how I play or what's in my deck. So that's fine. I'll just sit here and take advantage of it. So I kind of understand what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's that in itself was a game,
Yeah,
and
it was.
I got into that quite a bit
Yep.
on gauging that opponent.
Yeah, like yeah, you can realize like, hey, hold on a second. They don't even think I have a chance, which is to my advantage. So you just kind of sit there and let them do their thing until you
Exactly.
see the opportunity. So that is interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, so you ended up going back into soccer. Like, well, how did? what was kind of the process of like leaving and then wanting to go back and do soccer
Well,
for you?
after I hit the depression and I resigned, yeah, I just threw everything, all my medals and awards and everything, I just threw them in the dumpster and sold everything that didn't fit in my car. And my cat and I headed west and ended up out in Washington State. I was working there as an unpaid assistant to try to get an opportunity to work at a larger university. And that was the agreement with the guy that was at the Evergreen State College. So that was me getting a taste back, and he actually was able to wiggle my way into Gonzaga, and I'll leave that for the book because it wasn't a good experience. So I ended up leaving soccer altogether, but it was for an interesting reason. I ended up getting into adoption. I became a father of 5 kids from Romania and Ethiopia. So that was a total 180 difference. And I only coached a little bit if one of the kids was playing rec and they needed some help. But when the youngest was firmly secured into high school, I went back. And here's another good example of discrimination. So with my resume, I went to this larger club. We're in Bellingham, Washington. And I showed up, and the guy told me I was going to have the C team. I'm like, what's the C team? Well, it's not the A team. The first string. It's not the second. It's the third string of kids. I'm wondering what. Here we go again. So I learned that here one last time with the discrimination, but those kids were discriminated against as well. They were a little bit smaller. They lacked confidence. So that was my return after 20 years. I started working with these 12-year-old kids, and we ended up doing something pretty special with it. And that's basically the second half of the book is my work with those kids and what we accomplished.
So did you adopt those 5 kids when you were single, or were you married?
I was married.
Okay.
And yeah, so I was able to just become the full-time father, go over to Romania and pick up the kids. And then there were 3 separate kids from Ethiopia. And so it just was a madhouse. I was a full-time dad, and I was enjoying it. But then after 20 years, I finally just had the itch again for the competitive spirit and went back to coaching on a kind of a semi-professional level.
One of my uncles adopted a couple kids from, I think, Russia, and then one from Romania, possibly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, originally it was to go to Russia at the time. I had been to the Soviet Union and Russia through soccer, and then there was an interest to help out there. But the thing with Russia was it was show up to orphanage number 1 and go through. If you don't see anything there, you can go to orphanage number 2 and 3. And it's just like going to the animal shelter, which isn't cool in itself to pick them out. And I just didn't want to do that. Ended up in Romania because it was more through normal channels to go over and meet the children and pick them out. And gosh, that sounds strange, to pick them out. We read about them quite a bit, the background and what the needs were and what we could do to help.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part of the story where, like you said, going to one orphanage to another, but I've heard some pieces of what they were told to do and what the process was once they got there, about some interesting things they needed to do to be able to like get through the system and go smoothly and stuff like that. It was kind of, there's some interesting stories.
Adoption it's a slow process, man. I remember because we kept running into delays. The court would shut down for a holiday for a month. And I wrote to Oprah to see if she would help, offered a bribe, and ended up working with Senator Patty Murray from Washington State, came through and helped us finally after a year and a half to get the kids home. Yeah, it was a heck of a struggle.
Describe your mantra. My mission is not to teach you, but to put you in a place to learn.
That again, I think goes back to my freshman and college days, first coaching. I think that I needed to get something out to the kids so they would understand, and the parents too, because I view the game as not instruction as in let's do this drill, that drill, and then a match comes and here you are. No, the kids have to learn through experience. I found that's in athletics. Again, that's my view. So putting them in positions to learn and fail. We have statements with all the kids that I've worked with. It's if you're not making mistakes in training, you're not training properly, because that's the place to make mistakes, and we learn by making mistakes. And a bigger thing about a sport like soccer, because it's 11 people working together for something and it's not set plays like in American football, there's a flow to the game. And that flow only comes, it does not come from drills, it comes from playing together. So put them again in a position to learn so they can come out of it. I always would open a season with telling the kids, I'm not going to tell you so much what to do, but I'm going to ask you questions so they can be, again, involved with the decision making. So it's pretty detailed and it takes a little longer, but when the kids learn it, it's concrete. And I think my experiences with coaching would prove that point to be true. It works.
It's interesting. I guess I didn't realize there wasn't like set plays in soccer. I played it like when I was in seventh and eighth grade. I went to a Christian school and we had like a soccer tournament, so we played, but I mean, never at the level you're talking about. So yeah, I guess I didn't realize there wasn't set plays. Interesting.
There can be on penalties, but
Yeah.
that's a different sort of animal in itself.
Yeah, but that makes sense to me what you're saying, because like, yeah, the more you play together, you know that if this person has the ball and other people kind of know where you're going to be, or you kind of figure out where you're going to
Yeah, the flow. I mean, that's how we played on the teams that I was with before and after college and in college with the team there as well. Yeah, it works.
What is one tip that you can share to help the listeners be more inclusive today? So just anything somebody can start doing today to be more inclusive.
Just be aware. No, I'll retract that, Aaron, because being aware then I think puts a burden of I'm supposed to be aware of that quote disabled person. So I'll retract that. Just be yourself. It doesn't matter if you're not visually disabled or just be human. How about that? Just be human and not think about things and just be human. And we all get along then and understand each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Good. What's a lesson that you maybe learned from becoming like a quad amputee?
That's a good one, man. I know for sure a lot of understanding has come around, and understanding from being in situations or being placed or labeled in situations to try to come away. When I was in the hospital for 4 months of rehab, my objective was to get out and be able to do everything as close to quote normal as I was before. And that helped me a great deal. And my drive as an athlete, that would come into play on how I would work on things. So I've learned one heck of a lot about life, and it's not as smooth as that white guy that's in athletics. It's a lot more difficult than that. So there were some benefits that I can take from it as well.
Do you want to maybe just mention your book one more time, and maybe
Sure.
like when it's coming out and how people can get it?
The title is Play From Your Heart. It doesn't drop until June 9, 2 days before the World Cup opener, but I've learned that unless you're a celebrity doing a memoir, you have to do pre-sales and pre-work and all of this sort of stuff well in advance. But for right now, Simon & Schuster is our distributor, and Simon & Schuster is a very big company, and things kind of get lost in translation, so to speak. So the best way for people to find the book right now, and it is up for pre-sale, is to just Google Scott Martin, M-A-R-T-A, and Scott Martin, Play From Your Heart. Google Scott Martin, Play From Your Heart, and it'll come up with my publisher's site to go in and pre-order the book. I would think that maybe we can give you the link so you can put it on the show notes as well. People can just click on it in your show notes and it will take them right there. So depends on when this episode comes out. We might be on Amazon and some of those at the time, but just to play it safe, Scott Martin, Play From Your Heart, and Google that, and a link will come up to my publisher.
I'll definitely do that. Are you ready for the last question?
Yeah, fire away.
You like
Oh,
spam
yeah.
lunch meat, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look,
Fried with a slice of fried pineapple on it in a nice Hawaiian roll. That was done in Hawaii, Kauai. Just,
there you go.
yeah, grill up some pineapple, slap them together, and put it on a nice, soft Hawaiian roll. And oh yeah, that's some good stuff.
I've never eaten it that way. It's usually just slice it up and fry it in the pan and have it with pancakes. Is usually
Oh, that's how I grew up with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I put it in between the pancakes, so when you cut it, there's a piece of the spam in every bite. It's tough.
Yeah, so I live near the Spam Museum. Have you ever been to the Spam Museum?
No.
It's in Austin, Minnesota. Is the Spam Museum. So if you ever in the area, you should visit. It's fun. There's like a lot of history about spam, and you get a spample. They walk around with a little tray with a chunk of spam with a pretzel stick in it, and you can try different flavors.
Did that come about like M&Ms came about because of a war? M&Ms came about World War II to have chocolates that didn't melt so much. Did
Yeah, I'm
spam,
pretty
was
sure.
that part of?
Yeah, there's a lot of tie into like military and the war stuff. Yeah, there's a whole chunk of the museum where it talks about the war. It was probably this World War II also, and
Yeah.
also it was something that it was a product that I believe came about because there was parts of the hog they weren't selling other ways, so they came up with a way to sell that.
Yeah.
I think is also part of it. So yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Spam Museum, I think last year I saw in 2024 that like over 100,000 people visited it, and the town's only like 27,000, so people from
Wow.
Hawaii and all over the world come there and visit it.
Hawaii, most definitely, because Hawaiians love spam. That's interesting. No.
Yeah,
I've been over there with.
My partner had been to Hawaii like probably 4 years ago, and she sent me a picture of a pallet of spam in Walmart. And it's like we don't even have pallets of spam in our Walmart. In the town they make it, but
Oh yeah.
over there it's like way more spam.
Oh yeah. I don't. Who knows? Maybe it happened from the military being over there during World War II, because it probably became.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason. I'm pretty sure that's the reason.
Yeah, it has to be
because of the military being there.
It was at worst cheap, if not free.
Yeah, and it'll last a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Aaron.
To those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.